crazy. So thank you for being loud. Thank you for being here. My name is Lindsay. I'm better known online as Phantom on a Budget from phantomonabudget.com. Panel, and I can look around and I see that you all mostly know what cosplay is already about, probably, right? With that said, what we're going to do this morning is, for those that may not know what cosplay is, we're going to define it, just so that they know, because maybe you're walking around this convention center, you're seeing everybody in these amazing costumes, and you don't know what it's about. So we're going to quickly define it. We're going to talk a little bit about some basic tips for people that are trying to get involved in cosplay, as well as some tips for those of you that clearly know what you're doing already. And then after we do that, what we're going to do is question and answer period. So you want to have at least 20-some minutes where you all can, ask any question you want to ask, whether it's super technical or not, or basic. There's no stupid question. We're here for you guys. So we'll do a quick intro here in just a second, and then our tips section, and then question and answer. We'd love to hear from you. Like I said, we're here for all of you, because cosplay is for everybody, right? Alright, so intros again, my name's Lindsay from phantomonabudget.com. I started cosplaying about 14 years ago because I got started really just a Halloween costume that got a little bit out of control. Right? So I started playing with makeup. I love the makeup, so I kept doing this costume because I kept working with different types of special effects makeup materials and techniques. So I just kept doing this, and it turned into this whole thing where people wanted to know how to do it. And so that's when I launched my website. So that's kind of what I do and what I'm about, and I'm going to hand this off to Darcy, and we're going to go down the line.
Hi, I'm Darcy, Viscountess, and I do the Broadway bows that some of you may be familiar with. I also do a line of modern-day Broadway costume-inspired designs. I've been cosplaying for the last 10 years, and it also started as a costume put together with Halloween. And yeah, now I make much bigger costumes.
Hello, my name is Jenny Holmquist. On the internet, I'm known as MagicCatJenny, and today I'm Meow-Alexander Hamilton, our two favorite shows together. I have been cosplaying for probably over 17 years. I started when I was in junior high, when me and a group of my friends did our own completely unofficial amateur production of Cats when we were all only 14 years old. And since then, I just haven't stopped making costumes. It's awesome.
Hi, I'm Eibhlin, and my company is Enchanted Sea Studio. And I have a background in traditional art, but I got into sewing costumes about 8 years ago. And I got into it via fans, just online on the internet, on a Fan of the Opera message board. We talk about what projects we're doing, and then I eventually I went to school, and then I turned it into my business. So this is actually my first convention. So.
Hey guys, I'm Jana. I am a professional artist. Theater is always been an interest of mine. I guess you could say I did my first Phantom costume when I was 10, after I first saw the show 37 years now, so you can kind of get ideas to that. Over the years, I've just tried to perfect it as much as the costume as I can. So I just decided to give it a little something different, go as the MC. And I was asked by Lindsay to enjoy this, and it's great just seeing all you guys today. You guys all look amazing.
The table's free. Can't do it. So quick, again, for anybody that's out of the audience that doesn't really know what cosplay is, it's short for costume play. So these folks see folks walking around, getting into costumes, maybe they're striking a pose for a photo, maybe acting out a part of the scene. That's cosplay. You see it a lot at these conventions, and it's just a fun way, really for us to express, our love for a show, or a character, or costume design, because we can really, literally, as cheesy as this is, and I'm sorry, but you can wear your love on your sleeve. Because you can walk around with it, it's great. So we're going to do a question and answer bit at the end. So if you do have any questions or comments, just please hold it. to everybody at the end. And now we're just going to go through and everybody's going to give a piece of advice for anybody that's out there that wants to know more about cosplay, wants to get started. And hopefully you guys that really have been there, done that, can also get something out of this as well. So I'm going to start off, and this might not be a surprise. I'm going to talk about budgeting. Done. So a lot of the issues that I found with people trying to get to, at least on our side, on the fandom side, is that they don't do a lot of planning before they get into doing their costume. They just kind of get really excited about it, and then they run out to the fabric store, and then just buy things. They buy all the things, and then they realize, oh, maybe I don't need all the things. So just do some planning before you really get into buying anything for your cosplay. So for me, there are two very conflicting sides of the planning. There's your vision, which is what you want the costume to look like, right? When it's all said and done, how elaborate is it? How accurate is it if it's a replica costume? And then there's your budget, which is the Debbie Downer side of it, that wants to kind of counteract the vision. So what usually happens is if one side is really fixed, say if you have $50 in your budget, and that's all you're going to get just because of maybe timing or whatever, you have to realize that you're probably not going to get that stage-accurate Glinda gown for $50. Or a stage-accurate Alphabet Act 2 dress for $50. Maybe it's just going to be a black dress from the thrift shop. There's some green makeup and an ad. Good job. But likewise, if you really want something that's really accurate and looks really as good as you can possibly get it, you have to be comfortable with the fact that your budget's going to have to increase and flex in order to accommodate that. So if you have to have that stage-accurate Glinda bubble dress, save. She laughs. Just make sure that you spend the time, you put a budget together, and if you need to spend more time and put a savings plan together because you don't have the money right now, that's okay too. Just be comfortable with really what it is that you want. And for me, I found that, if you are looking for a costume that you can live with, that you're happy with, for a price that you can live with, you have to give a little bit on both, right? Maybe spend a little bit more money, maybe take a little bit more time to get the budget together, and then maybe you don't use the $400 a yard crazy fabric that they actually use in the show. Maybe you use this really pretty good looking thing from Joanne Fabrics. It's a little bit cheaper, right? So that's all I got. Next.
So my biggest tip comes from personal experience, and it's because I first started out sewing, I wanted to have a Meg Masquerade costume from Phantom, and there was just no way someone who's never sewed before could make a stage-accurate costume. And it was held together with Velcro, and it was 5 inches too big, and I didn't even have a coat in it. But basically, nobody starts cosplaying and costume making amazingly right off the bat. There is a learning curve, and you have to be forgiving of yourself. Don't beat yourself up if it's not perfect, if you can't do the makeup, if you can't shell out for a wig. I rarely do wigs. And I also am not much of a contacts wearer, as you can see, so I'm just hipster everything. And that's okay, because not all cosplay has to be 100% accurate. You don't have to represent the character in the exact way as you see in the movie, the film, the musical. So basically, with your budget, you have to be able to just say, this is something I'm going to be happy with, and this is something I will be happy wearing, because it's about having fun. Don't forget that.
So my tip actually kind of piggybacks off that a bit. It is about having fun, and I'm sure you are all having a blast. But for someone who hasn't cosplayed before, or maybe you haven't done a big costume, you've just kind of done maybe like Broadway bounding, and you're trying to make that transition, it can be scary, and you just gotta find that courage. I have a bit of social anxiety in normal situations, but I find when I'm in cosplay at a convention where there are people that get me on some level already, like there's already one barrier that's not there, I can find that courage and just go out there and have fun and just not worry about the maybe few people that will think it's weird. But at conventions, you know, it is a safe space. I know that, again, that's like kind of cheesy, but it is like people here understand you and they get you, and just have fun.
Okay, so my tip is for people who are looking for a free education. I know a lot of you guys are probably visual learners. Sometimes it's really hard to, you know, when you're reading a pattern and you don't know what you're doing. It's nice if you can have someone show it to you. So one of the best ways that I learned was volunteering at a local theater. And it was one of the best experiences of my life. It made me go into theatrical school. I was one of those people that had like 2 or 3 jobs, but I made time for this because it was so amazing. You might be doing tedious things at first, like ironing clothes or, you know, putting away props, but if you really show that you have a passion, you can get in the costume department and help them, and they'll teach you. You might have a costume mistress that's willing to teach you for free. So you're volunteering your time, but you're also getting a free education. You can learn anything from staying on budget, because, you know, we all know theaters don't have most money. Alterations, tweaking and existing patterns. It's a great atmosphere too, because if you're passionate about it, everyone's going to encourage you. You can get advice on your own personal projects too. I would always ask that. And one other thing is, when you're working in the theater, you're making costumes for other people, and I find that can be a really good motivator. Sometimes when you're making your own costume, you might give up more or compromise, but when you're making something for someone else, even if it's a friend or an actor or just anyone for practice, sometimes you go that extra mile for quality, so that can also help you teach yourself. So.
Thank you for doing that, by the way, Kay. I love you so much. She made this, because I can't sew.
Now, I don't sew at all. So my route has always been scavenging. Obviously, that route takes a lot of patience, a lot of luck. Scouring eBay, go to antique stores, garage sales, estate sales, look at your own closet. If you have a character in mind, start planning ahead. What can I use? What can be utilized? When I decided, last year, if anyone was here, I was able to do 3 costumes with 1 good tail suit. I was the Phantom, Rapp, and Monsieur Fermin. So, think of what you can use for this. I was able to throw things together with my own closet, and all I had to get was sock garters and suspenders. So, keep an eye out. Get your idea, get it early, and be a little creative with it. And don't be afraid to maybe think outside the box. And just, good luck.
To piggyback off of that, so this costume, which I got a year ago, year and a half ago?
Yeah,
Sure. A while ago, not too long ago. That's all I did was scavenging, because I can't sew. And it's actually, and I think a lot of people maybe get a little bit uptight about that when they think about wanting to get involved in cosplay, and maybe they don't have that skill, or they don't want to get that skill. They don't know where to get their costumes, so of course, if you don't know where to start, or that there is an option that you can, go down to the Goodwill or whatever, or the state sale, and pick up something that you can use. If they're not really aware of that, that's a good starting point for a lot of people, and it's a good foot in the door to see if this is something that you would like to do or not, and go from there. So for 12 years, I just wore suits that I could find online, whatever. You work existing pieces into your costume, and it's just a great way to just start. So there's nothing wrong with that, and I also think there can kind of be a stigma sometimes with folks that are really heavy into cosplaying, that if you don't make your costume, you don't belong or something, and I think it is, because at the end of the day, this should be fun. And it doesn't matter to me, it shouldn't matter to you, or somebody else gets their costume if they buy it, or if they find, pieces and put something together. or if they make it from scratch themselves. I think all of it is amazing. And what we want to do here, at least at BroadwayCon, is celebrate just you all showing that love of that show or that character. And at the end of the day, it doesn't matter where the costume came from, is that you're here, you're wearing it amongst friends, and you're having fun. So.
And even if you're buying things, you're supporting artists too. So, I mean, like, people who buy from me, that's the only way I can stay in business. So I'm very thankful for that.
And for anybody that wants to maybe do the costume contest, which you see at some of these larger conventions, kind of masquerade contests, most of them I think are geared toward people that do make their own costumes. So the smart thing to do, if you commission a costume or if you kind of put one together from scavenging, just ask and say, is it okay if I enter? And sometimes they will say, yeah, that's fine. And sometimes they will say, no, it's just for people that made their own costumes. And that's cool, as long as you know ahead of time. That way you're not wasting time, you're not wasting their time, everybody's happy, and just go from there. So. Okay, cool. Well, here comes the fun part. Where I fall off the stage. Yay! Okay. I don't need to look like this all the time. You know? So what we want to do right now is just open this up to questions and comments from you guys. So if you have any questions about anything that we do or anything that you've heard out there, you sir, in the back.
Yeah, I'd like to start by saying that musical theater is not really my scene. I'm here because I gave this as a Christmas gift for my husband, who's obsessed with musical theater. And the reason I'm asking you this first is, I'd like to know from all of you, because I know nothing about cosplay. So, you know, when I look at this, I think it's amazing. I'm really amazed by seeing you all in costume. So I'd like to know from each of you, what has been the most awkward situation you've always encountered with a person like me who doesn't know what cosplay is, or like on the street walking to a convention like this? Because I imagine that this has happened. You know, like encountering a person like me who has never seen this before. You know, I'd like to know if it doesn't make you uncomfortable to talk about that, of course.
There's a lot of, yeah, kitty kitty.
There's a lot of interesting photos. For some reason, when you get into costume, like you're okay with people taking weird photos, and then you're like, why did I do that? Like,
You kind of just have to own it, like, you know, you're going to look a little weird. Our hotel was probably only about 5 minutes away, but, you know, that 5-minute walk, you know, just power through.
It's a lot longer when you're in costume. Power in numbers. Stick together.
Yeah. It's actually something we were talking about. Cosplay is not consent, which is a big thing in Comic-Con, and it's of course accurate here too. Heathers, there are many Heathers in this room right now. I wore Heather's cosplay yesterday. I did not feel that great walking down the street. Thank God I had my group of friends. So it is a little awkward when you're wearing something that's geared towards a certain audience, but then when other people kind of look at it, it's like, oh, I don't feel as comfortable as I did 10 minutes ago.
Yeah, also, I wore this to see Cats on Thursday night. Great experience. The cast loved it. I did get people asking for my photograph outside and in the lobby, and every time I had to say, I'm not in the cast, I'm just a fan. But yeah, it's interesting. Some ushers like did a double take. They're like, oh, okay, you're in the audience, got it. You're on the wrong side.
I think it shouldn't be shocking that I don't get hit on in this costume very much. I don't. If I did, I would be very suspicious. It's amazing. I love your face. You know, for me, it hasn't really been that awkward because for the most part, again, like people just kind of see this and they just kind of put their head down and keep on walking. For me, the only awkward part is going to use a public restroom because, believe it or not, there's actually a cute blonde woman under all of this. So, for me, that's really the only awkward situation. But again, like people
mention cosplay is not consent. What are some tips you have for people who may want to get pictures for with their favorite characters, but you don't want to seem all, oh my god, just like just freaking out, like you don't want to overbear, but at the same time you want to show your love for that character and let them know that their efforts are appreciated.
I think it's always good to just kind of take a breath. When you see somebody that you just, oh my god, take a breath and just, we're, for the most part, I can't speak for everybody that's in costume, but I think most of us are pretty used to photo requests. So you just go up and just say, hey man, take a picture. And then you can, and it's great to hear people comment on your costume and say, oh, I love what you did with that, or how did you do that? I mean, it's great. It's a lot of fun.
I know you said that your costume went from something that you found to having something custom made. Do some of your costumes over time, let's say even if you make something, do you continue to develop it as you might see a different photo of the way a costume was done, and you want that next version of it or something a little different over time, or do you usually stay with something for a long period of time that you're happy with?
I mean, I first started, like I said, my very first Phantom costume was when I was 10 years old. When I was in college, I started putting together something a little bit more, like I went to a tuck shop and I wanted to get an official tattoo. I still had to go with a store-bought Halloween full face mask. It wasn't really whatever production I was trying to do. A few years later, I tried making my own mask. So, now I kind of have, it wasn't a professional mask, but it looks very close, similar, to one that Lindsay has. So I can definitely say that it is an evolution. I don't have, the budget to commission a costume. I am kind of toying with the idea to kind of take it a little bit further. But yeah, there's definitely an evolution in the whole thing. And that's part of the fun. It's part of the journey. Seeing, oh yes, I can use that. How can I make this work? How can I make it look a little bit sharper? Things like that.
I actually love making multiple versions of the same costume, and I get that chance since people commission me to do it. I wouldn't do that for just myself. I barely get to make myself anything. I've made 16 Christine dressing gowns, and I love improving, so that's great. Always trying to hone your craft and get better.
Yeah, and my favorite character in Cats is Jemima, and I first made her costume in 2002, and I redid the costume last year for BroadwayCon, and they're so extremely different because of the time in between, and then I've been, doing the makeup for years, continuously trying to get better and better at it. So, yeah, I mean, if you have a favorite character and you're not completely in love with the first version, keep making that costume, either continuing with the same costume and adding to it and changing it, or starting from scratch with new skills that you learn over time.
First of all, you guys are so inspiring. This is coming from the perspective of someone who's an altar, meaning I spend 6 hours with Salvation Army every month. It's sort of a self-esteem question, because a lot of times I end up feeling like, since my costume is an eBay bought sand pink, head sewed bouffant skirt and Delta dress, I'm not as good as someone else, and I know that's not true, but I want to know if you had any tips to curb those feelings.
Just own it. Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say.
It's hard because, even I feel self-conscious about certain things, because sometimes when you stare at things a lot, you're like, I don't like this, but I think it's all about having fun and seeing other people and photos, and sometimes it's more about the people than the costume, and how you're having fun, and fake it till you make it,
Yeah, and maybe try and focus on the play part of cosplay. Not everyone does that. Some people just like to wear the costume and be themselves in it, but if that interests you at all, try and embody the character and go around and, I don't know, if you feel like the character, then you'll feel a little more confident with the costume, because it doesn't matter if it's, complete stage accurate. If you're the character, then people they'll respond to that.
I think this is kind of on the community too. So for everybody in here, no, not every Eliza dress or Angelica dress or Glinda dress or any costume from any show that you recognize is going to be stage accurate. And you don't know that person's circumstance. So again, it's just, as a community, it would be great if we could just really be supportive of each other. And it's not about, this is not a competition. I mean, we're not doing this and coming to this con or going anywhere in public to say, hey, my stuff is perfect, yours isn't perfect, how dare you? That's not very fun at all. And at the end of the day, I mean, this is about coming here and celebrating, you know, your love for Hamilton or your love for any show. And I think for me, that's the most important thing. So if you hang on to that, I think we'll be okay.
Thank you.
As someone who was never assigned to, will never be assigned to, I want to say to everybody that is plus size like me, just own it. Because you can cosplay as a male character, a female character, somebody skinny, somebody fat, somebody tall, somebody short, but if you own it,
And respect it.
Yes. And command respect. Insist on respect, because people should still treat you like the person you are. And we all deserve respect, and we all deserve to be treated kindly. So I would hope I would not hear anyone at this convention being unkind to somebody else here. Please. If you don't have anything nice to say, don't say it.
And that's one thing I also wanted to touch on because I know race when cosplaying may be a big thing. And Hamilton has made that amazing for all of us. But when I cosplayed Christine long before Allie was cast as the first Asian Christine, I remember putting on the dressing gown, the wishing gown and all that and thinking, but I'm not quite there. Even I could get a wig, I could get contacts, and I still wouldn't quite feel like the character. Well, we're all gonna have this last bit of doubt in our hearts, and we shouldn't. Because it is about having fun. It is about acceptance. Broadway is one of the most accepting communities, even more so these days.
And just to add to that too, I mean, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. Again, we say cosplay is for everyone. We actually mean that. It doesn't matter what gender you are, what size you are, what color you are, anything like that. If you love that character or you love that costume, go for it. You know, I mean, that's just your love for that costume. And it doesn't have to be exactly perfect. And I'm looking at a gender bend Glinda right there that I love. And I think that's amazing because it's incredible. I mean, that's a lot of creativity. And it's so cool. So thank you, and thanks for everybody for coming. That just was amazing. We're not done yet though.
I do want to say one real quick caution when it does come to cosplay and race. I'm sure everyone's on the same page here, but you know, if the character has face paint like Alphaba or Cats or something like that, then yes, of course, go for it, but never change your race with makeup. Ever, 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 ever. That's where the line is, I think.
secretly jealous because we're pretty confident to do this. So.
And also being in New York helps with that. It's also doesn't everyone to see a family on the street.
Like this in rural Ireland, in the city in Ireland, in Dublin, for a day. And it's actually funny. People make smart comments, but they actually then go, you know what, I wish I could. I've had so many people say that's great.
I have my mom who's dressed up as a teenage boy right now, and she's always been my partner in crime and cosplaying. Did you guys ever have, she's my main influence when it comes to this stuff, did you guys ever have someone like that who influenced you so heavily?
I have a partner in crime. crying. Which I think this is amazing, by the way, so it's adorable, I love it. I had a best friend in college that I had all these crazy like costume schemes, and I'm like, hey, let's do this, and she was very kind to let me just kind of drag her by the arm and be like, hey, we're doing this. And she's like, okay, yeah, and she went along with it. So that was, I mean, it's more fun, I think, when you have somebody, but even if you don't, again, it goes back to the community and us being supportive of each other and being able to just come together and just have fun in costume.
Yeah, the first time I did anything in costume, it was with like people I met on the internet. I'm one of those people, I know there's probably people out there that's like, well, now I have my friend cosplaying with me, but like earlier when I first started, no one wanted to do that with me, but you meet people, you know?
Yeah, I kind of lucked out. When I was in high school, I got into Cats in junior high and then kind of like gradually got all of my best friends to watch Cats and get obsessed and draw fan art and write fan fiction. And so I had my little Jellicle crew for all of high school, so I was kind of lucky. But yeah, if none of your friends are into it, you know, find a safe online community, and we're out there, all of us.
You said that all your costumes don't have to be perfect. And do you ever sketch out like an alternative costume for your character?
I definitely like to combine characters, as you can see. I think that's a great thing with cosplay too. You can go completely accurate to the character, you can go like a budgeted version of the character, or you can invent your own character and, you know, combine lots of different things. I think all of it's cosplay and whatever you want to do.
And that was one of the issues I was having with the MC. Is obviously I do not have Alan Cummings' body, so I was, you know, my first idea was to maybe take a tux shirt, cut off the sleeves, but it doesn't work. That was the first plan I had. So I kind of had to, you know, what other ways can I still make this work? Still get people to understand what it is. You know, you sometimes, like I said, you have to think outside the box sometimes, but still, you know, go for it and just see what happens.
And you're also free to Broadway bound, or Disney bound is the other one. But that's why I finally came up with that line of wishing designs, because I wanted to wear that gorgeous floral blue print every day, but I couldn't walk around in a bustle gown the whole time. So I made it into dresses, I made it into bows, and it's just a part of it will always be something wearable, but not necessarily this crazy budgeted, full-scale, impossible to walk around in version.
I just wanted to comment on the budget part. I do a lot of cosplay and I've done a lot of like different stuff, but it's so expensive, and like finding fabric like this is impossible. If you need it right then, you're gonna pay so much money. So what I do is, again, I constantly go to the Goodwill and Salvation Army and just constantly find fabric. I found this fabric for $4 total. So I need that. I bought this about 4 months ago. I said, okay, I can use this for this cosplay. It's on sale. It's like the last of the bulk of clearance. I can save this. I can dry and hoard it in tubs in my basement, and save it for a time where I can slowly gather things at a like cheap price, so that I don't have to spend an enormous amount of money when I want to make it. So that's just also another tip to keep the cost down.
Just like a comment, don't ever hold yourself up to anything anyone else is doing, because it will just make you feel inadequate. You do what you can do and you be proud of it, and if someone else did it and it doesn't look the way that you did it, it doesn't matter. That's their version and you do yours, because if you're constantly holding yourself up to every other Mary Poppins, every other fandom, you're never going to be satisfied. And I totally did not do that on purpose.
I love that you all know what it is.
the term that I've always heard for when you are cosplaying someone of a different gender is crossplay. That happens a lot. So you might not always be cosplaying the same gender that you identify as. Your friend might not identify the same gender. So not making assumptions about people's genders based on who they are cosplaying.
Yeah.
Something you totally regret and never speak up to this day.
I have one. I once made a Katara costume from Avatar: The Last Airbender. But I had a week to make it, and I didn't have a pattern, and I was doing it because my husband's sister, his younger sister, had a really great Toph costume that her grandma made her, and she was adorable, and she looked perfect, so I wanted to cosplay with her. So in like a week, I bought some fabric and just sort of threw it at my sewing machine till something came out, and I did not post those photos online anywhere, and no one will ever see them because it did not come out the way I was hoping.
I did Glinda once and never to say anything. I did Glinda once and never again. But it's because I was trying to do the whole thrift store thing and it didn't really work out. It's so hot. So just let that one go away.
Is there a cosplay that you guys are want to do or planning to do, or this is the one that I'm gonna spend 100 bajillion hours on it, but I'm gonna do it? What's your I guess what's your dream cosplay?
I am planning on having Darcy make the robe from Phantom in the morning after scene. That was hard. I was hoping to get it for this year, but it didn't happen. But that's my goal. So it'll be worth it.
I didn't actually cosplay it, but one of my favorite that I ever made that I was really proud of was Mask of the Red Death from Phantom. Someone actually commissioned that from me. It took 500 hours, but I was just really proud of it, even if I didn't get to wear it. I mean, I put on the hat, but...
I doubt I'll ever do it because I'm not a great seamstress, but maybe one day would be the Sarah's ball gown from the movie Labyrinth. That's my dream costume.
Okay, I have one. I'm probably never going to do it because, again, I can't sew. So if Darcy and Kay would like to collaborate on it. You sure? You don't know what it is yet? It's Carlotta's red dress from the second act of Phantom with the crazy trim. I'm so sorry.
I would guess it's
That's like every dress from Phantom.
I think Christine's wedding gown. Flipping love that thing. I think I love that thing. I'm probably just gonna wear that down the aisle whenever that day.
I think we have time for one more question, and then we're going to do the fashion show selects. So.
Someone said, I don't want to come to people saying, oh my god, I love the costume. But honestly, I do it for that. I love when people come and say, I love your costume. Honestly, it just validates all the effort my husband did doing that, because I'm not good at all. I tried to sew a question, and then they've not been admitted. So honestly, for me, people squealing are the paycheck of why I'm doing cosplay. So if you want to squeal, please squeal.
I lied, we have one more question.
Do you have a favorite cosplay that you see so far?
Sideshow has been my favorite the past few years.
You're the first Cosette I've seen, so I already love you.
I'm definitely a little biased, but Magellical's in the back there.
I'm kind of feeling Eibhlin over there.
You took my favorite. No, I think you all look amazing. I know that's like the cop-out answer, and I'm sorry.
All gorgeous.